All right. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the difference between CBD, CBG, and THC. Most of you probably have heard of marijuana, you know, the evil devil weed from Mexico that got such a bad rap. And that is THC. So THC is psychoactive, and that is the compound in cannabis that makes you high. So today we're going to be talking about what is CBD, what is CBG, what is THC. Now, they're all compounds found in the cannabis plant. And there are hundreds, hundreds of different compounds, or the fancy word is cannabinoids, found in cannabis, right? And more are being discovered every single day. But right now, the major ones are THC and CBD. Those are the major cannabinoids found in cannabis, and all of the other ones that you hear about, like CBG, CBC, CBN, those are all minor cannabinoids that are also found in the plant. And what people are doing is they're extracting or isolating those different compounds to make products like CBN or CBC, CBG. CBD and CBG are also from the cannabis plant, compound cannabinoid found in cannabis. They are non-psychoactive. So you've got the THC, which makes you stoned or high, and then you've got the CBD or the CBG, which is non-psychoactive. And we're going to be getting into a little bit of depth into the CBD and the CBG, because that's basically what we do. That's our business. THC has its own medical benefits. A lot of people use THC for pain control, PTSD. It's huge for PTSD for war veterans, because what THC does is you don't dream at night. So you just don't remember your dreams. So when vets are taking THC, it kind of just wipes out the dreams and they don't have those nightmares. So THC has its own medical benefits. As far as CBD, we're going to focus on CBD and CBG. There's a lot of people who have heard of CBD because that's the big thing right now. A lot of people have not heard of CBG because it's just right now being discovered. Okay, so okay, let's see here. So cannabis has been around for thousands and thousands of years. And in the 1800s, it was in the medical pharmacopoeia, and doctors used to prescribe it for absolutely everything that ailed you. It was a cough syrup, it was for migraine headaches, it was for stomach issues, everything that you can imagine, cannabis was used for. And if you go back and you search Google for old cannabis bottles, you can see the old bottles of the cough medicine where it says cannabis on it. Well, when cannabis became illegal, and it just so happened that Big Pharma showed up at that time too, the government had to come up with a new name for it, because people were used to the name cannabis. They had seen it, the doctors had prescribed it. And so the federal government had to come up with something that the public wouldn't recognize. So what they did was they created this Mexican devil weed, right? And they took the two most popular names in Mexico, Mari, and Juan. And they joined the two together and they created this Mexican devil weed called marijuana. Fancy that, huh? And so they started marketing this marijuana as this Mexican devil weed that was making people go crazy. And I'm sure that some of you have seen that movie that was out. I can't remember the name of it, but it was all about marijuana and how you know, it made girls easy, and it made guys kill people, and it was horrible. Reefer madness, that's what it was, reefer madness. So so anyways, that's how this whole issue with marijuana became illegal, right? And then Big Pharma, of course, showed up at that time. And of course, Big Pharma can't make any money from a plant that you can grow in your yard. And so, you know, and cannabis was showing these, excuse me, miraculous health benefits, and worked for absolutely anything. But of course, you know, Big Pharma couldn't make money off of that, so it became illegal. Let's just make sure I got everything here. Okay, so as far as like hemp and marijuana, the difference, cannabis can be likened to a tomato plant, right? Now you have hundreds of different varieties and strains of tomatoes. You've got your heirlooms, you've got your cherries, you've got your red, your purple, your yellow tomatoes, hundreds of different varieties. Well, cannabis is kind of the same. There's hundreds, thousands of different strains, and more showing up every day. And the reason being is, excuse me, I have a hair here. The reason being is because the cannabis plant is either female or male. So you can take the pollen from one male and pollinate the female and come up with a totally different strain. And so when cannabis became illegal, well, before it became illegal, the flower or the buds that people were smoking back then were about a 1-to-1 ratio of THC to CBD. So they weren't that strong. And what you find is that CBD, because it's non-psychoactive, it actually counteracts the effects of THC. So if by chance you take an edible, a gummy or something that you get from the dispensary, or something you make at home and you don't know how strong it is, and you take it and you've taken too much, you can always take CBD and it will kind of sober you up. It'll help with the effects of being stoned. So back then, before it got made illegal, the flower itself was a 1-to-1 ratio. Well, as soon as it was made illegal, there were these underground growers that were hybridizing the hemp plant. And what they were doing is they were trying to grow out, or let's just say pull out the CBD, so they could make these THC plants as strong as possible. And that's why today you can find the THC flower is like, it'll knock your socks off. You know, people smoke it one hit and they're out. They're on the couch eating their gummy bears, and they can't function because the weed is so strong these days. Well, recently now, let's say in the last 10 years or so, maybe even less, CBD has made this grand comeback, and people are recognizing these health benefits that CBD is showing, and you're not getting high or stoned from it. And so now they're breeding CBD back into the cannabis plant, and you're finding strains that are more balanced. Let's just say you've got your high THC, then you've got your high CBD, and then everything in between. So it's becoming more balanced, and people are definitely seeing the health benefits of CBD. Let's see here. Okay, so what is the difference between marijuana and hemp? Really, there's no difference at all. There's no difference at all, other than one is high in THC, which is the marijuana, and one is high in CBD, which is hemp. If you look at the plant side by side, you will not see a difference in the medical when you're growing it for CBD. Industrial hemp is different, and it's grown differently. So this is how the government kind of tells the difference between marijuana and hemp, right? So when you're growing the plant in the field, these hemp growers are growing hemp in the field. The Department of Agriculture comes in just before they get, before they harvest their crop, and they take flower and they test it. If the flower tests lower than 0.3% THC, it's considered hemp. If it tests higher than, hang on, I've got these people. If it tests higher than 0.3% THC, then it's considered marijuana. And what we're seeing now is that hemp growers are very, very nervous. And there's a lot of hemp growers that just aren't growing this year, because what's happening now is if the Department of Agriculture goes in and tests their hemp field, and their hemp field is over 0.3, the DEA is notified immediately. And I just read this yesterday. The DEA is notified immediately, and if it's higher than 0.4, they could get arrested and go to jail. Now, this is 0.3 is like, it's tiny bit of THC. It's like nothing, right? And it's really hard to grow plants that are that low in THC naturally. It's just very, very difficult to do. So the hemp growers are having a really hard time right now. So basically, that is the difference between marijuana and hemp. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to try to share my screen with you here. So bear with me if it takes a bit of time. I want to show you the difference between medical hemp marijuana and industrial hemp industrial hemp. Okay, let's see here. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, good. So what we're seeing here is on the left, there's industrial hemp grown. And basically, it's the same plant as the one on the right, except the way it is planted. It's planted like corn, very, very close together. So the stalks are vying for sunlight, and they're not as, they don't have as much foliage. And these plants are male and female. So they're basically being grown for their fiber, so that they can use the fiber for clothing, for furniture, for building supplies, all these wonderful things that hemp can be grown for. Now on the right, we're seeing a field of medicinal hemp, or it could be marijuana. They both look exactly the same. And these plants are grown about 6 feet apart, and they are topped. So when they're small, little, tiny seedlings, they pinch the top of them off so that they get bushier. They don't get as tall. And these are all female plants. And in this huge field, they've got people that walk this field every day looking for male plants. And they will cull all the males because they do not want the females to be pollinated. And the reason for that is because the buds turn to seeds. All of that wonderful resin in those buds that are used for medicine will be just seeds. And you cannot make anything out of the seeds other than if you're growing for seeds. And the industrial hemp right here is what people will use. The seeds, they'll use the seeds there if they're selling seeds for hemp seed for food products. Okay, there we go. So that is the difference between basically marijuana and hemp, right? It's exactly the same plant. A lot of people would ask us, well, do you use medical hemp to make your products? And there's the answer for you. It's the same plant. it's just grown differently, and it has to be below 0.3% in order to be legal CBD. Okay. Okay, got that. Okay, so we've spoken a bit about CBD and THC. And let's talk a little bit about CBG, because there's a lot of people who don't know what CBG is, and they've just figured out what CBD is, and now here's another one to just confuse everything, right? And I get that. Well, CBG is also non-psychoactive. It has a lot of the same healing benefits as CBD. What we're finding is it's more stimulating and less sedating. So CBD is great for insomnia, great for sleeping, relaxing. It's more sedative, whereas the CBG tends to give you more focus, a little bit more energy. And what we're seeing with it is amazing and miraculous results within the autism community, believe it or not. Kids that have been nonverbal most of their lives are starting to speak words and put words together in just a few days, not months, not years, in a few days of taking the tinctures. And this was just a great side benefit to the product, because we're just thinking, okay, well, it's like CBD, you know, it's great for pain control, it's great for inflammation, any kind of gut issues, things like that. But when we started seeing the results and getting testimonials from the autism community, we were just blown away. And I'm going to bring up another slide here. And this is a survey that was done by a Facebook group called Whole Plant Access for Autism. And it was, I think it was 2018. So it's a little older, but that's when we first started selling CBG. And they were our major purchases was through this Facebook page. And she did this, this survey. So let me see. Share screen. Okay, so here we are. And so basically what we're looking at here, this was a survey that was done, and I think it was just after just 2 weeks of these kids taking CBG. This is what they observed. Out of how many participants? There were about 35 participants, something like that. The biggest one is better mood. And the second biggest is increase in speech and decrease in anxiety and increase in focus. This blew us away when we saw what the CBG was doing. Just absolutely amazing. Okay, I see that somebody else has entered this. Yeah, so CBG now, up until 3 years ago, CBG was very hard to come by. It was, nobody ever really heard of it, because what happens, this is how CBG forms in the plant, right? It's as the plant is growing, as it's immature and it's growing, the CBG is found in its leaves and its stem. And as soon as the plant matures and starts forming flowers and buds, the CBG is converted to CBD or THC or a combination thereof, and it goes away. So the only way you could get CBG was to harvest immature plants and then try to extract it from the leaves, which was really difficult. You hardly got anything. So it was really expensive. But 3 years ago, we had these friends and growers in Oregon who basically, they hybridized the plant and they created a hemp plant that is, the buds were pure CBG. I know, it's amazing. It's just what these growers do is just absolutely awesome. So, so now we've got plants that are pure CBG in the bud, with the minor cannabinoids being THC and CBD. So you still have a little bit of CBD in there, and you still have a little bit of THC, which is very, very important for the health benefits of the plant, the entourage effect. You want to have, you want to basically have the whole plant in the product you're buying. And that includes CBD, CBG, and THC, and all the terpenes, which are the essential oils. And that's what you would call a full spectrum tincture or a full spectrum salve. And just as a disclaimer, these products of ours, excuse me, do have THC below 0.3%, of course. But anybody who's going to be drug tested may show up dirty on a test if they're taking it continuously. Okay, so that's, so CBG, what we're finding is it's very good as a pain management. Some people think it's better than CBD as pain management. It's showing great results with glaucoma. We have a friend of ours who was in the military, and he got into, I don't know if it was combat or a bomb or something, and his eyes got really messed up. And he said that he kept seeing like a checkerboard in front of his eyes, and it was getting worse and worse. And the doctor told him that, you know, within 5 years, he'd probably be pretty much blind because this checkerboard was getting worse and worse. And he started taking the CBG, and it completely fixed his eyes. Now he does have to take it, he has to take it every day. It's not something that you can take, and sometimes it fixes things, but usually it's something that you have to do. It's almost like a supplement. And because he said the other day that he'd run out and he stopped taking it, and within a couple of weeks, the checkerboard came back in his eyes. So this is definitely helping with his vision. We've also had people talking about the gut issues. It's very helpful for any kind of irritable bowel syndrome. This is the CBG. And you know, CBD too, it helps with all of these things as well. And what's interesting is that cannabis, whether it's THC, CBD, CBG, it seems to help with just about everything. Now you go to the doctor and you got a migraine headache, and the doctor will give you a pill for your migraine headache, and all it does is it targets the migraine headache. Or if you've got IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, they will give you a pill that will just target that problem. But what we're seeing with cannabis is that it seems to target just about everything. Whether you've got a migraine headache, whether you've got neuropathy, whether you have gut issues, vision issues, it just seems to help with absolutely everything. And we ask ourselves, why? How is this possible? How is it that this plant that has been ostracized for all these years has having these miraculous results with absolutely everything, from, let's say, autism to anxiety, from arthritis, cancer. I mean, people are curing themselves of cancer with CBD, THC, CBG. How is this possible? Well, it all has to do with this vast receptor system that we have in our bodies. This receptor system was found in the 90s, and they termed it the endogenous endocannabinoid system. And yep, it was only found in the 90s. What they found is that the endocannabinoid system within our bodies is there to regulate balance in our bodies, homeostasis. So if if our bodies are a little overactive, like maybe a stress, we're stressed out, or it's underactive, maybe we're ill, we've got a cold, then our endocannabinoid system is supposed to kick into gear and bring us into balance us out, right? Unfortunately, there's always an unfortunately, isn't there? Unfortunately, because of this day and age, with the way everybody is so stressed out all the time, we're not eating properly, we're not exercising. There's all kinds of herbicides and pesticides and all this stuff we're breathing in, we're eating. Our endocannabinoid systems are completely depleted. And this is called endocannabinoid dysfunction. And when your endocannabinoid system is depleted, you have such things as autoimmune disease, right? You have autoimmune disease, you have epilepsy, migraine headaches, fibromyalgia, anxiety, depression. And that's just to name a few. This is what happens when we get depleted, okay? And just a side note is that our bodies are producing their own cannabinoids. They're producing their own cannabinoids, and I forgot to mention that, but they are. And with the way we live in this day and age, our bodies aren't producing enough cannabinoids, endocannabinoids. They're just not producing enough. And so how do we fix this? How do we fix all of these problems, whether it's, feeling exhausted all the time, tired, no energy? How do we fix this? Well, the interesting thing is that cannabis acts as a lock and key system within our body's endocannabinoid system. So basically our cells are there and they've got these little lock and key systems. And when we get stressed out, our body produces these cannabinoids, these hormones, so to speak, that go floating around, and they will latch onto that cell, that whether it's an immune cell or whatever it is, it'll latch onto that and it'll make it balanced. It'll create homeostasis. But if we're not producing enough of these endocannabinoids, then that cell is not getting any balance. So by ingesting cannabis, it's the exact replica of the compounds that we're producing within our bodies. It's the exact same. And it floats around just like our endocannabinoids. It'll float around in there and it'll latch on to the cell that needs some TLC. And voila, all of a sudden, there is balance that is created. And this is how cannabis is working for almost everything that ails you, right? Because it's almost like it targets the cell that needs the work. Whether it's a migraine headache, whether it's anxiety, whether it's cancer, it'll go in there and it will swim around until it says, oh, look, there's a little cell that needs some love, and it joins to that cell and creates balance in the body. And this is actually amazing, really, if you think about it, because here's this plant that's just, it's the devil. It's been called the devil weed. It's been ostracized. We've been told that it's bad for us. But who's been telling us that it's bad for us, right? Who, right? Think about it. But here it is, and it's helping people feel better. It's an amazing plant. So this is how it works in basically in your body, right? So you just have to think about it. In essence, if your body is not producing enough of its own cannabinoids to heal you, to keep you in balance, then you can supplement by taking cannabis, whether it's THC, CBD, CBG, or any of the other ones that are out there that target certain things. Okay. Okay, so I wanted to talk, let's see what the time is here. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit more about how to get the cannabinoids into your body so that they can heal you, right? And so everybody's familiar with smoking weed. Well, I'm not saying that you guys smoke weed or anything like that, you know, but you've heard about it, I'm sure. And that's one way of getting them in there. That's one way of getting cannabinoids into the body. Now, when you smoke it or vape it, now vaping is kind of like smoking, but it's an oil. It's like an e-cigarette. It's like an e-cigarette. There's an oil, and you just kind of suck on the piece, and you don't have to light anything. You don't have dirty pipes, you know, that you have to clean out. The vaping is the easy way to go. It's very strong though, usually because that's extract that's in there. It's very, very strong stuff. So you got to be careful if you're doing some THC, but that's one way of getting it into the body immediately. So if you have pain and or anxiety, and you just can't wait an hour for the tincture to kick in, you can smoke it. You can take a hit, and within 5 minutes, you'll be purring. And I'm talking about CBD as well. It knocks the anxiety out like that. And you can still function, which is great. So smoking and vaping are probably the most popular ways of ingesting cannabinoids. Then we've got things like tinctures, edibles like gummy bears, brownies, things like that. There's also capsules that usually they have, it's coconut oil with extract mixed into it. You've got the capsules. You can juice the leaves. I've done that many times. I had a big old plant growing basically in my living room. And every morning I'd go and trim off a few leaves and stick them in my smoothie and grind them up. And I really think that fresh leaves like that is very good for the system. You can also take the flowers or the buds and grind them up and put them in a smoothie, or you can make a tea out of them, or you can put it in food. If you're cooking something like spaghetti sauce, you can always, instead of thyme, you just can sprinkle a little CBD weed or THC weed in there, and you're good to go. So that's ingesting it. There's also topicals. So you've got salves and balms, you've got creams, lotions, and then you've got something, let me see if I can grab this. This is extract. So this is how all of our products start out. This is basically, it's like molasses. It's very, very thick. It's very black, and it's very, very potent. This is what cancer patients use this to basically try to kill cancer cells. And so you could do that. Now that you start off a very, very, very small amount, like a tiny little smear, and then you work your way up. Your body will eventually build a tolerance. So that's what we have for the cancer. They also have transdermal patches. And this is a patch that's like a time release. And so you can put it on kind of like any kind of patch, like a nicotine patch, or there's other patches out there, but this is like a time release, and it'll slowly release the CBD or the THC into your bloodstream. And then we have also suppositories. Suppositories, there's some controversy around those. Suppositories are mostly used by cancer patients. And what it is it's coconut oil and THC extract, like the stuff I just showed you, but THC mixed in coconut oil, and they put it into a suppository, stick it in the freezer to get it hard, and then they use that. because what happens is when you use THC as a suppository, you don't get high. And so this is where the controversy is, because people say, well, you're just wasting money because it's not getting into the bloodstream, because the colon is impermeable to let anything in or let anything out. You don't want poison leaking into your bloodstream from your colon. And so this controversy, some people say it doesn't work, some people totally believe in it. And really, if you think about it, it's what you believe in that actually works, right? It's what you believe to be true is usually true. So the suppository thing is kind of controversial. And so that's about it as far as the delivery methods. So we've been going for about 40 minutes. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the floor or the computer to questions. I know that I kind of, try to get as much in as possible there on the endocannabinoid system, but I'm sure that you will learn a lot from asking questions and listening to answers, and other people will learn from those questions too. So if you have a question, please unmute yourself, which is down in the corner on the left-hand side, and we can take your question. Susan, hi.
Yes, hi. By the way, it's good to meet both you and Britt.
Yeah, you've been a long time customer. How long have you been with us?
A long time.
Probably 7 years.
It's been, a long time. So I love the chamomile and lavender that you have put in the CBD for sleep.
Okay, good.
That's wonderful. What would you think of adding chamomile to the 700 CBD natural? And I only ask that because that's basically the product I take, or the CBD chamomile lavender for sleep, and then the 700 for pain twice a day.
So so basically you're saying that you want to see a new product with just chamomile.
I'm wondering what you would think about adding chamomile to the 700 CBD natural.
Well, to tell you the truth, we don't really want to create any more products right now.
Okay.
Just because, it's just too many products, more labels, more expense, and this, that, and the other. Basically, all of the products are, how do I say this? They're the same thing, but they're either stronger or weaker. So if you're looking at the CBD 700, it's basically just twice as strong as the 350, right?
Right.
And the only products that have the chamomile in it is the PM, and it's lavender, chamomile, and hops to help you sleep.
Right.
As far as putting chamomile into the other product, I don't think it's necessary.
It was just a curiosity question, basically.
Yeah. No, we wouldn't do that. If anything, we'd probably add things like ashwagandha root into something, because ashwagandha is showing remarkable benefits for cancer. So that would be something we do. The chamomile is great for just relaxing, but CBD is relaxing anyway.
Right.
So the added herbs for the nighttime is mostly just those herbs that are going to relax you even more, so that you can sleep.
Well, I love the product. Thank you for doing the Zoom.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
I want to do it every other week.
Good.
And have different topics. So if you guys have topics that you want to talk about, please put them in the chat so that I can have something like, okay, yeah, we can talk about this, because after a while I'm like, okay, what am I going to talk about? But yeah, great. Thanks,
okay,
Susan.
and I have only one quick question about the CBG.
So
I've tried that several times, and the CBD I take twice a day, every day, for pain. So I don't take any Tylenol or anything then. But the CBG, for some reason, I can use it one day, 2 days, it's okay. By the third day, it's almost aggravating to me. And I don't know why that is, because it is a good product.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just my system. I don't know.
Does it make you more anxious?
Yes,
Okay. It could be, have you tried the blend, the 50-50 blend?
I have.
Okay, and you just prefer the CBD?
Right.
Okay.
That works the best for me.
Yeah, and you know, that's the thing. Everybody is so different and their chemistry is so different. And sometimes the CBD, people are like, oh, I just can't do this because it makes me so tired. Like for
Right.
me, I have to take the CBD PM at 7 o'clock at night so that I don't feel it the next morning. Because
Oh,
if I take it at 9 or an hour before I go to bed, I can
Mhm.
still feel it the next day. I feel a little groggy. So
Oh.
I take it, you know, a few hours earlier, and then that way it's kind of worn off by the time I wake up. Now, the blend is great for sleep too. And this is what I found with the CBD CBG blend, is that it does help you sleep, but you don't wake up as groggy in the morning. You're more
Oh.
focused because of the CBG.
Right.
And that might be something, I don't know if you've tried taking it to sleep or what, but people.
I've tried it both ways.
Okay.
I've tried it both ways because of the energy. I thought I would try it to see what happened, but I'm pretty energetic anyway. And so it's like, well, I don't need that much more energy.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's great. Great.
So thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome, Susan. Thanks so much.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, first of all, thank you for this program.
You're
And
welcome.
I have a 7-year-old with very severe nonverbal autism, sensory issues, high energy, and just recently, fortunately, my state approved use in kids with autism, and both the neurologist and pediatrician signed off on it. So it's really been very helpful as far as just settling down. You know, he was like literally bouncing off the walls. And in the weekends to test, when we try to not give it to him, then we remember what life used to be before before that. The question is the CBG, which I want to try. THC has not been good because has not been good for him at all.
Yeah. It makes you paranoid as well. So
Yeah, I don't. And again, it took me a while coming into it. I think I was very nervous, but given the effects, the question about the CBG, which I purchased, and I heard that it would help with speech, but it looked like when we started it, it made him even more anxious and that. And then I finally learned to do just some drops. How much do you have to do it in lieu of the CBD? Or you have to do a combination? We haven't found that sweet spot. We did notice that some words came out of him more intentional, I mean, very limited. So we are talking about somebody who is 7 communicating, not even at the level of a 9-month-old, to be more intentional about repeating what you say. Before, he could not repeat anything on command.
Oh, wow.
So we are not at a place of functional communication, but we are making strides. So how do we get that, again, it's try and error, but how do we, so we've not really been using, I still have my CBD, but it's like once in a while, we'll do a few drops a day or two, but we just don't want to get him off balance where school is complaining and all of that, which they really don't, it's not been discussed with the school what he's on, because not everybody is on board. As long as we have the card, we have a legal card, and the doctor sign off on it, and that's all there is.
Yeah. So what I would suggest is if you join like our Facebook private group and ask questions from other parents, that would be great. Also, that group that I mentioned with the survey, the Whole Plant Access for Autism.
Oh, yes, I am. That's actually where I got all of this.
Oh, okay. And so it's more about trial and error to find out what works with his chemistry. Some people think that the CBG is great for autism and CBD is good for ADHD, whereas the CBD isn't good for ADHD. And a lot of people, what they're doing is they're doing the blend, the combination, because they're getting the effects of the benefits of the CBG as far as the brain, basically CBG is supposed to be a neurostimulant. So it's supposed to stimulate the growth of new brain cells. And what we're seeing with autism is definitely there's something going on there, because kids are starting to say words, they're starting to hum tunes, but it's trial and error to get the dosage just perfect for your son. And I would, what I do is start low and slow. So, I say to people, get the lowest amount, because we have a 350, 700, and a 1400, I believe. Britt would know that. Is that right, Britt? Yeah. And so I would start with the 350, and, just start with a quarter of a dropper full or 5 drops and see how he does. Start him on the weekend when he's not going to school, and just observe how he does. If you find he's still running around going crazy, increase it a little bit more. Ask other parents what they're doing, because every kid is different.
Are you talking CBG or CBD?
I'm talking about the blend, the CBD CBG blend. It's a 50-50 blend. It's the orange label or the gold label, and it has both of them, the CBD and the CBG. So the CBG is helping stimulate the brain activity, whereas the CBD is calming him down more.
See, the thing with that is he requires a very high dose of CBD to even settle down, 125 milligrams. So if we're taking anything that's 50-50, then we're already starting very high on the other.
If you have a dispensary card or a medical card for him that you can buy stuff at the dispensary, I would look at getting a 1-to-1 THC to CBD, or even something like a 3-to-1 CBD to THC, which has more CBD than THC, but it's still got THC in it. Because what that does is it counteracts the effects of the THC, but the THC will still calm him down a lot more. So if
we did that already. I got a 1-to-1. And the 1-to-1, obviously, we didn't give him 125 milligrams of that. We just to get a few drops of THC for him. It really didn't help. It didn't make much of a difference. And as we increased the dose, it probably made him more hyper. The only other thing was that it made him, strangely enough, made him eat a little bit more, because he's with very sensory issues. We were food jagging. So the only thing that helped when we introduced was that we could do a variety of foods, still very selective, but in a day we could do 2 different meals, still limit, which is progress, and we can change that. So we decided, and as we increased the dose, we didn't get the benefits that we needed. In fact, he got more hyper. So we've not done that THC blend, and we were not doing that exclusively. So that was still doing his 125 of CBD, and then we'll just add maybe 5 milligrams of this other mixture. So we went up to about 5 milligrams of THC in that 1-to-1. Okay. So what I'm more interested would be that CBG for language. But if the CBG is stimulating, that's what we're worried about getting him, like I was on that page, though I'm still on it, the whole plan access, and they had that. So we started at the low dose, which was don't remember if it was 1 or 2 milligrams, but he got hyper, and through other parents' experience, which they shared, they finally started with just 1 drop and then 2 drops. So we started with that. But then again, it's how much is enough to get? That's where I haven't had much. I was curious to ask when you talk about that. The other thing is somebody mentioned about doing it at night. The CBD works in the morning because you can see it takes the effect, and then it helps him go through the therapy. He's not functional for school. But if we did the CBG at night, but that's stimulating, as I was listening to this, would that be a consideration if he can sleep through it?
Yeah.
Or it should only be done in the morning?
Yeah, now with the CBG, it just depends on the person as well. Now, a lot of people say that they cannot take CBG at night because it's kind of like NyQuil, where you have those NyQuil where it knocks you out, but you're still kind of like in an anxious kind of a sleep. That's what the CBG seems to do for some people. And so we say to take the CBG during the day if that happens. The blend doesn't seem to have that problem because it's mixed with the CBD, and the CBD kind of counteracts the stimulating effects of the CBG at night. But it lasts throughout the next day, because when you ingest a tincture or an edible, it'll stay in your system. It takes an hour to kick in, and it'll stay in your system for 8 to 24 hours, depending on your age, your metabolism, your body chemistry. Whereas if you smoke it, it's gone within a couple of hours. So if you're taking something at night, you're still feeling it. It's still in your system the next day. And this is why I like the blend that we have, because it does help you to sleep. But when you wake up in the morning, there's more focus. So, and this is what they're finding with the kids with the CBG, is even though it's more stimulating, it's also knocks out anxiety. So did you see the survey? Were you on when
Yes.
when I showed you
Well,
the
no,
survey?
I had seen that on the Whole Plant Per Access. I had seen that survey there before. So that's actually one of the reasons that I got started, because I joined them first. I'm still with them, and I read a lot of the information and things like that. So they've really been helpful in schooling, just reading.
Yeah. So I would suggest that you try doing, and you're going to have to just experiment maybe on a weekend, where you can give him some CBG in the morning and see how he does, or some of the blend. If you're not finding that the CBG is working like you want, I would suggest you try the blend.
Okay.
And for everybody, we usually have a 40 to 60% sale on the 1st of every month. And so we do select items of, whatever we want people to try out. And, you just keep a lookout to see what's going on sale, because that's a great way to try new things, new products.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much. Okay, Fran. We got this, Fran. Fran, you need to unmute. Fran?
I have a question.
Okay, Karina.
Thank you. So first of all, I want to thank you for such a wonderful podcast that you just presented.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope
it was very helpful too. And especially when you want to talk to other people, and you want to help them. And since I actually committed to taking the product and totally didn't take any Tylenol or anything else, I'm just really relying on the CBD, CBG, and all your products. So I just wanted to say that. And Rosalie, who I think you know her. So Rosalie is the one. Yeah, she's the one. She mentioned you on her website, and she recommends Flower Child.
Oh, okay, that's great.
And it could have been Mountain Herbs. Yeah, it could have been Mountain Herbs too, but I think it was Rosalie. Anyway, so what my question is, can you post I have two questions. Can you post your CBG graph result on your website so that could be shared with other people?
The survey?
Can you post you posted a CBG graph?
Okay. The survey that they did with the kids.
Yeah. I was wondering if you can post that on your website, if possible.
Yes. Britt, do we have that on a blog somewhere?
It's on a couple posts on our blog, but I could post. I'll post a link on our Facebook page or something if you have that, or I could just send it to you directly.
That would be great if you could send it to me directly. That would be great.
Karina, why don't you
try to message it to you here?
I did take a picture of it while it was on, but I don't know if it'll come out. So
okay, if you want to just send us your email address down below in the chat.
I'll do that. That's lovely.
Anybody who wants that, they just send us your email address.
So I really take CBG during the day because that's when I'm active and alert. And especially if I'm going to drive, I try not to do the CBD unless I'm low on CBG. But I just wanted to share that with you. And also, what do you have any recommendations on titrating yourself during the day? With the CBD, let's say I'm home and or even with the CBG, titrating is kind of like, that one's difficult for me sometimes.
What do you mean? Like when to
Like
take
taking
it?
it, just taking it. Sometimes I know when to take it because I'm hurting. But other than that, I'll try to take it like, say, I don't know, a couple of, at 1 ml, 0.1, whatever that is, that little dropper,
1 mil.
1 ml. So I'll take it like maybe every couple of hours or something like that. That doesn't overwhelm the endocannabinoid system. Any change in that happening?
What I would do is, I don't think you need to be taking it as that much, unless, of course, you're in pain. If you find that if you're taking 1 dropper full and you're needing to redo it in 2 hours, you might want to take more. So instead, take maybe 1.5 dropper fulls or 2 dropper fulls. That should last you longer. If you're taking like the 350, maybe go up to the 1400 and take less of it.
Okay, that sounds
basically the 350 is, the 700 is twice as strong as the 350, and the 1400 is even, is twice as strong as the 700. So it's just, there's just more extract in the bottle. And so you can take less. You can buy the higher milligram of CBD, CBG, and just take less of it.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, because I'm thinking that maybe, if you shouldn't be having to do it more than every 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours.
Okay, good to know.
Kind of like Advil or Tylenol.
Okay, that applies to CBG both.
Yeah,
also?
both of them, because they do stay in the system for 8 hours.
Okay. Okay, very good to know. All right, thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Karina. Anybody else? Come on. Okay, you have to unmute yourself. Okay. I can't hear you. Pamela, is that you? No, yeah.
Okay, I do. Hi, how are you?
Hi,
Okay,
and what
nice
is
to
your
see
name?
you.
What is your name?
Elahe.
Elahe. That's a
Yes.
hard one.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Just to tell me, Ellie. Yeah.
Okay, Ellie.
I have a long time ago, I have a rheumatoid arthritis. And I did the surgery, 2 knees and hip surgery too. Just a long time, I was 34, I got sick, Just they started that time until now, take medication.
Okay.
Take medication a lot. That prednisone and Fosamax and everything. And now, just I have a question. Because my doctor called me, stop my painkiller a long time ago, is not good for my kidney. I started 2 months ago Tylenol. And it is not helped me a lot, because my joints so pain.
Yes.
And my bone is very soft, gets soft. I don't know what should I do and which that for me good, My brother, sorry, hello?
Yes.
My brother, his wife, they take that,
Okay.
this. And my brother told me that very good and they help his wife. I know the name, the son. He's a son. And she's a son. And now, I don't know, this medication, they help me or no?
Have you tried it before or not?
No, not.
No. Well, then, you definitely need to try it, because it is way healthier for you to be taking CBD than it is to be taking Tylenol. It's
With Tylenol or no?
No. So what I would suggest is that you wait until the 1st of July when we have our sale and buy whatever, I don't know what it's going to be on sale, but you can buy whatever's on sale and start trying that because it'll be 40 to 60% off on the sale. And you can try it out to see if it works for you without spending too much money. And I would suggest that, you just try it because you won't know unless you've tried it. And so many people are getting off of painkillers like opiates. They're getting off of opiates, and the CBD and the CBG are helping them with the pain as much as the opiates were.
How milligram they take it?
How what?
How milligram I take it?
How many milligrams?
Yes.
So I would suggest you start with maybe the CBD 700.
700.
So 700, and you start with maybe a half a dropper full, okay?
Yeah. Yes.
And if in 90 minutes you don't feel any relief, take another half a dropper full.
Another, yeah. Just
So,
okay.
yeah. So
please.
you wait, and then you wait an hour. If that, then you take a little bit more if it doesn't help you. And that's how you got to experiment with your body until you find exactly what your dose is, because everybody's different. Some people only need a couple of drops and it takes the pain away. Some people need the dropper fulls.
Yeah, I understand. Yes, that's and the question, because I must with this medication, I must continue my medication or no? I stop that.
What I would do is I would start the CBD, right? Start the CBD and talk to your doctor about getting off of the Tylenol. Because Tylenol, you buy it over the counter, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you could talk to your doctor about coming off of it and tell them that you want to do CBD instead. If you're in a state where the doctors are okay with that, because a lot of them don't even want to talk about it, or cut back on the Tylenol. So do maybe a half a tablet of Tylenol and then the CBD, and then slowly get off of the Tylenol and see how the CBD helps you.
Both together.
Take them together and then eventually get off of the Tylenol. Stop taking it.
Yes, now I do my injection Umbra 2, every week, 1 day a week. And I don't know, I stop or no, continue for my medication. I must talk to my doctor, yes?
Yeah, because we're not doctors, and we don't want, if something happens, we don't want to be responsible for you not, feeling good.
Okay, hold on, please. Talk to my son, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm sorry. I was going to ask her something on her behalf. So we live in Maryland, and my uncle's wife who suggested you guys to us. And then if we want to order some to Maryland, how is the legal standpoint? How does it work?
We ship all over the country.
Okay,
So
and you don't need a license.
No, you don't need it. No, because CBD is non-psychoactive and hemp is legal. We ship it all over the countryside, and yeah, we don't do THC, but the CBD is fine.
Okay, perfect. Well,
Right.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan Vaughn. Susan, did you have a question? Susan Vaughn. I guess she left. Anybody else? I can hear something in the background.
Me. I have one more question before you go.
Yeah.
So you provide some cannabis through the website that I've gotten in a little package.
Yeah, the smokable.
I guess so, but I'm a tincture person. I'm a law crafter, and I was wondering if it's okay to tincture it with glycerin. Glycerite, especially if you want to give it to children.
No, glycerin doesn't work because it's glycerin is water-based, and cannabis does not mix with water at all. So the oil is.
So the oil is the best way to go.
Exactly. So this is, as I said, this is how we start everything off with this full spectrum extract.
Okay.
And this is like thick like tar.
Yes.
And the only way this disperses is in oil or alcohol or 100 proof alcohol.
Okay.
Vodka won't work. It has to be like Everclear, the 200 proof.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
the only way. So oil
Only-
is better. But for kids, you know what? You can stick it, when you take it, you take such a small amount. 1 ml is not very much. You can put it in a smoothie. You
Yeah.
could put it on peanut butter, mix it into peanut butter, put it, there's ways that you can get kids to eat.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Hi.
Yes, Susan.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, Susan
Which
Vaughn.
Susan?
Sorry. Susan Vaughn.
Okay. I forgot her name already, but was interested in, I have arthritis.
Mhm.
I have stenosis. I have a few things that
Yes.
cause pain. And at the moment, I am taking Tylenol. Sometimes it doesn't do much good. And naproxen, pharmaceutical grade.
Okay.
And I would like to get off both of them. I tried Zymbalta. I tried, it's awful. One day I can't do it. So the pharmaceuticals are very difficult for me, and I'm very sensitive to any kind of pharmaceutical. And in my head, in my 80-year-old head, I'm going, am I too old for CBD and CBG? And what can I take? And what can I take that's not too much? And
Mhm.
this is the first thing I've heard that kind of deals for me in what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I don't need to get high. I'm already high enough. But I like my head. I like being in my head. I don't want to be on Zymbalta or whatever. They make me goofy. So anyway, here I am.
Okay, so what I would suggest is that you try our blend, which is a CBD CBG,
Okay.
and start taking that at night. So
Okay.
I would take it a couple hours before you go to bed.
Okay.
And you can start off with, as I told the lady before,
Right.
Start off with half a dropper, wait an hour. If you don't feel any pain relief, take another half a dropper.
Okay.
Okay, you cannot lethally overdose on cannabis, because that endocannabinoid system that's throughout your whole body,
Okay.
it's not in your brain stem, and your brain stem is what regulates your breathing. So you
Okay.
cannot lethally overdose on cannabis like you can with opiates. There's opiate receptors in your brain stem, and that's why so many people die of prescription opiates, because it interferes with their the opiate receptors in their brain stem.
Mhm.
So the worst thing that can happen to you if you take too much CBD is that you feel sleepy and that you want to take a nap. That's it. It's
Okay.
more of a sedative, so it's great for sleep. So that's what I would do. I would, experiment with that. If you have, 3 hours before you go to bed, take a half a dropper full. See how you feel. Are you still in pain? Take another half a dropper full. Are you still in pain? Take another half a dropper full until you find your sweet spot. That, okay, you know what? This is it, a dropper and a half. And we have 3 different strengths: 350, 700, 1400.
Right.
I always suggest to people who are in chronic pain or who want results immediately to go with the 700 or the 1400.
Okay.
Because you can always take less of it and it'll last longer.
Okay.
And so that's what I would suggest. You start at night, because it's going to make you sleepy until you get used to it. Your body's going to build a tolerance eventually over time, and you won't feel as tired.
Okay, because I don't like, yes, I don't like being made or feeling sleepy. And how do I know if the 50-50 is having an effect when I am now steadily using naproxen and Tylenol? I use 2 milligrams or 2 tablets of naproxen, 250, so that's 500. about 9 o'clock in the morning and then again about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. Now, I don't really know, and we're not doctors, so we can't really recommend and tell you what to do.
Sure.
But if you have a doctor who is open to talking about CBD, you can tell him that you want to get off of those pain meds and start taking CBD instead.
Right.
And he can help you wean off of them. Okay. Yeah. And the thing is, you are going to feel pain relief. You are going to have pain relief with the CBD and the CBG. It's just a matter of getting off those others. And are there going to be any withdrawals that I don't know if there's withdrawals from those drugs, but usually there is some kind of a withdrawal.
Okay. I usually only take one because I can't stand the side effects. So that's why I'm back to the Tylenol and the naproxen.
Yeah. But so I would talk to him and find out how you can wean yourself off of those slowly, but you can still start taking the CBD in the interim, because it doesn't, it doesn't, the good thing about cannabis is there's very few side effects, and it doesn't really interact negatively with too many drugs out there. So I know that there's epilepsy medication that it does kind of interfere with, but it also helps with seizures. So people who are taking CBD are usually getting off of their seizure medication.
Okay, so 50-50.
Yeah, it's the blend, the CBD, CBG blend.
Okay.
It's 700.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Susan.
Thank you.
Susan Belden, did you have something?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm here.
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted to say, and this is just a big kudos for marijuana, totally. My son was almost killed 8 years ago in a motorcycle accident, and he never took drugs. I mean, pot, but he never took drugs. And he managed, thank God we're in Oregon, he managed to get the doctor's permission to grow his own. And with a year after the accident, he was 100% off all the opioids.
Wow.
The side effects are horrible. And so it's just a shame that marijuana has such a bad name. Yeah, it is. But, I think that we're seeing the light here with all these different states going legal and going rec. It's gonna, it's not going to be too long and the whole country is going to be legal. So that'll be a good thing, because definitely is it's helping so many people. Even so I just wanted to give a shout out.
Great, thanks, Susan.
The wonderful products. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Anybody? Nope. No more questions? Justine, did you have a question?
I do. Yeah, I apologize in advance if you guys had already gone over this, but I deal with rheumatoid arthritis as well. I find doing a 1-to-1 at night is best to help me sleep because I have that available to me. For daytime though, CBG, I understand that would be well to use for the daytime to give you energy. How much do you start with? Because I have 10 CBG with 10 THC, but doesn't CBG also open your receptors? So if you take the THC with that, it'll make it even stronger. And so I haven't
heard that. Have you heard that, Britt?
Opening the receptors?
Yeah, that the THC opens the receptors to, or the CBG does?
CBG.
No, I
haven't really heard much about that. I know that there is the entourage effect, so they all kind of work stronger together in general. But I've also read a lot of that CBD and CBG kind of lessen the effects of THC, kind of tamper it down. So, I'm not too sure about the science though.
Okay, yeah, I had a 1-to-1 CBG THC edible, and it felt a lot stronger than just the simple 10 milligrams, because I usually can handle that. So I was good with just taking that, and I took even less, and I didn't really feel too much of an effect. But I just don't know where to start with CBG since it is so new in the industry where I'm working.
So what I would suggest with the CBG is get yourself the pure CBG, right? That we sell, it's just pure CBG, and we have 350, 700, and 1400. Maybe start with the lowest amount, which is the 350, and start your day with maybe a quarter to a half a dropper full, so that your body can get used to it. Because if you start off with a full dropper, you're going to feel tired. That's just what this plant does. It makes you feel a little sleepy until your body builds a tolerance. Okay. So start off with the lowest amount possible, always low and slow. Just remember that, start low and slow. And do it on a Saturday or a Sunday where you don't have to do much, so that if you do feel tired, you can take a nap if you want to, or you can relax and not worry too much about what has to be done. But once your body starts getting used to it, you're going to find that you have more energy and more focus. It's amazing what it does for focus. I take the blend at night to help me sleep, but the CBD helps me sleep, and then the CBG gives me the focus and the energy the next day. And I don't have that kind of groggy feeling that CBD gives me the next day. And it's amazing, the focus. And this is where the kids with autism are having some amazing, miraculous results, because these kids don't even, they've been kind of ostracized from school. And now they're on the CBG, and all of a sudden they're these totally different kids. They have more focus, they are less anxious, they're interacting with their peers. And I'm talking about kids that have autism. They're not beating themselves up. I mean, the testimonials that we have regarding the CBG is amazing. So it does help with focus.
With the autism, I have a nephew who I just started on a 20-to-1, and just a drop is what we're starting with. We just started doing it. So I'm not too sure of how well it's going, since I just gave it to him a couple weeks ago. You're suggesting a CBG, which would even be even better, and they probably feel a lot better not having, that much THC, even though it's not as much. It's not that 0.03 is probably, or less, is what you guys have.
Yeah, so we did the CBD, which is, basically 0.3% THC. It still has a THC in it, but you're not going to feel it, right? It's such a little bit amount. The thing with the THC, what people don't realize when they give it to the kids is that THC, if it doesn't have any CBD in there with it, if it's just pure THC, it makes you very paranoid. So you may find these kids are actually freaking out just a little bit because of the paranoia. And parents should always take it before they give it to their kids to see what the effects is.
Right.
Whereas if you've got like a 1-to-1 CBD to THC, the CBD is going to counteract the paranoia. There isn't going to be as much paranoia. But there's also there's not going to be any appetite, whereas THC stimulates the appetite, CBD does not. CBG does.
Gotcha. Okay. And then, so on that, what would you suggest from your site for a youngster with autism?
How old is he?
He's 2.
2. I would suggest that she gets, does he have ADHD as well?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So I would suggest you either get the CBG 350 or the blend 350.
Okay. I have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you suggest someone with psychosis taking a product like this?
Yeah, I would not suggest THC, but I would suggest either the blend or I would think maybe CBD. What do you think, Britt? CBD for psychosis versus CBG?
I think that the blends would be best in general, just because they're more balanced.
Yeah.
CBD
definitely.
or CBG, though, it depends on the biochemistry as to which is going to work better for someone. But I'm kind of inclined toward the CBG just because the THC levels are lower than the CBD by a small amount. But I'd say either the blend or the CBG. CBD might be good too, though.
Okay.
Not high THC, though.
Definitely not. We've already discovered that.
Yeah. Great.
Awesome.
Okay, everybody. If there's no more burning questions, we're going to end this. I did record it, and what we'll do is we'll send out a an email to everybody with the recording if you want to watch it again, or send it on to friends, family, whoever you think might be interested in learning a little bit more. And I thank you for being here, and I thank you for being our customers. And don't forget, we have a 40 to 60% sale coming up on the 1st, and you can try out some new products. So thanks everyone, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks, hopefully. Bye now. Have a great day.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.